I'm joined here by BYU Athletic Director Tom Holmoe, who was part of the first college football video game, Bill Walsh College Football 92. And you've got a story you guys wanted to share with me. Explain that.
So I was a defensive back coach at Stanford University. Bill Walsh was our head coach. One day, late in the afternoon, I think it might have been the off season, Coach Walsh came into our room and said, "Hey, coaches, there's this group down the road, Electronic Arts. They didn't call me Sports; they call it Electronic Arts, and they want to do a college football game, like a video game, and they could use your help in helping kind of put in some of the plays for the engineering."
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, no problem, that'd be great. So a day was scheduled, and these engineers came over from EA Sports, and we sat at Stanford and drew up some plays, and they were pretty simple, but it wasn't really sophisticated.
Mm-hmm.
49er playbook that Bill had, but we worked with them just to answer the questions that they said.
Mm-hmm.
And so before you know it, they're back and forth, and they would bring back prototypes. And it was amazing how good the prototypes of the game would be just based on the plays that we would give them. And so we really weren't paying attention very much, and there was no money involved or anything like that. But in the end, they came out with this game, and we got paid with the game and a lot of other games. So I can remember my kids, who were very small at the time, had all kinds of video games. And this was when there weren't a lot of video games at this time, and the system that they played on. So one of the things that was kind of cool about it is at the end, when we kind of asked questions about, well, how's it work? And they talked about some of the players would be faster and be able to perform a little bit better based on how we juice them up in the game. And so I said, well, since we're not getting paid, I don't know if I said that, but how about if you put a little juice in my Stanford DBs?
And so you were the defensive back coach.
I was the defensive back coach. So we had John Lynch, who's a Pro Football Hall of Famer.
Pretty good.
We had Darian Gordon, who was a Pro Bowler with the San Diego Chargers. Von Bryant, who played a little bit with Detroit. And Sayon Albert. Those were my four DBs. They're really good.
Pretty good.
And so when the game came out, they were super, super happy because they were super good players. They were really fast.
They were the fastest players in the game.
And, since it was early on, and now as you see players really concerned about how their rating is, that wasn't really a rating.
Right.
They didn't have ratings.
They didn't have ratings.
They were able to do like logarithms or however they do it to juice up the speed.
So you guys had a cheat code before there were cheat codes.
We had a cheat code built into the system.
Built into the game.
Absolutely.
Did you ever play that first game?
Oh, yeah. We played that game originally.
How was it playing that game compared to the newer one?
Quite frankly, I'm not a big video game player, so I haven't played college football, EA Sports.
What have you thought about the reaction around the game coming back?
I think it's, I get it. We're in college athletics, and there's a lot going on now with NIL and all that stuff. So our kids of today, the players and younger kids, love the games. And I think it's football. It's a different way of looking at it. There's a ton of players that play the game that don't know one thing about football. And I guess it kind of connects them to college football in a way. And so being part of the brand is super important. So I like the fact, and I hope that, BYU players start getting rated a little bit higher. I might have a little bit of swag left over that I could push forward.
Did Bill pay attention to the game at all? Did he understand it? Did he follow it? Did he know it? Or was it just kind of you doing that?
I think that it was something that he really, Bill Walsh designed the West Coast passing offense with system, and I don't really think that he was going to spend a lot of time drawing up plays for a football game.
Yeah.
But it was his namesake. He was the namesake. And I really haven't gone back. And it wasn't until this year with all the hullabaloo about the game that I was going, is this the original game? But it's EA Sports, and I think that was kind of the genesis of it all.
Have you seen the clips? There's been some BYU clips out there with the blue and white out and Cosmo a little bit. You gotta check it out. The players can play it here.
I'll go in the room. Are there EA
I don't
Sports
know if
guys
you're allowed.
there?
I don't know if you're allowed to. I think it's just the players are allowed to. That's what I was
I'm a
told.
player.
Well, I guess you could probably
It'll
get some. You
work.
tell them who you
If
are.
I
Tell
flip-
them
if I-
what you did.
Like I was one of the inventors of the game.
Yeah,
You think they would let me come in and play it
You
just
would-
for old time's sakes?
you would think so.
I think
Yeah.
so.
That's a pretty fun story. Thanks for the time, Tom.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Chris.